Hey, what's up everybody? Brent from Brenspeed. What's going on? Today we're going to talk cooling mods again. So you hear me say that a lot in my videos, especially on supercharged cars, cooling mods. I'm a big fan of them on naturally aspirated cars as well that see any sort of track use. But today this Roush supercharged car has an upgraded AFCO radiator and AFCO heat exchanger. So I want to take just a minute to show you the size difference because luckily we have the nose off the car. So it's going to be really easy for you to see. So first let's take a look at the AFCO heat exchanger. Then we'll look at the radiator and we're going to look at the size difference between that and factory. So here we go. Down here, you have an AFCO dual fan heat exchanger. Take a look at the width difference of that versus the stock Roush heat exchanger. And I'm using Roush in this example, but really all heat exchangers for the most part that come in the supercharger kits are going to be really close to this same size. But take a look at this. So here, that's the Roush heat exchanger. There we have the AFCO. Check that out. You'd have to be blind not to see the width difference in these two. So what that does is it creates twice the capacity at least of coolant. That's the coolant for the supercharger. And the AFCO also has dual fans. So what we're trying to do is lower our intake temps. The reason we want to do that is because a lower intake temperature is going to produce more power. Not only because the air intake temps are lower, but because in the calibration, when you have cooler intake temps, you're going to run a little bit more timing than when the temps get very, very hot. So here we have the AFCO heat exchanger versus the factory. Something cool to look at. The AFCO is, all aluminum, made in the USA. So it's a really nice part. The fans are great, especially like stuck in traffic when you don't have any air going over the heat exchanger. The fans are going to help draw the heat out and keep your intake temps cool from building up just when you're sitting in traffic. So that's a cool feature as well. So here you go. Once again, that's the factory Roush heat exchanger, and there we have the AFCO. Huge difference in size. Same theory holds true for the radiator, but let's take a look at them. That's the AFCO radiator. So the AFCO is going to have twice the capacity as a factory radiator. It has two 1-inch cores, all aluminum, made in the USA, and it doesn't have the plastic tanks on the side. Let's take a look at the radiator that came out of this car. It's right here. So here's about how thick the factory radiator is, and honestly, even if you had a track pack car, which they say comes with an improved radiator, it is improved over the factory one, but it's nowhere as close to the size of the AFCO, and honestly, it's just a little bit bigger than the factory radiator. So we cut the side of this radiator open just in case you want to see what a radiator really looks like inside. A lot of people haven't seen this, but check this out. So that's a plastic tank on the side that we cut off. And that's what the coolant is flowing through. So what our goal is on this is we're trying to have a cooler engine. Cooler engine is more efficient. It's actually safer on the engine. And again, if your engine temps are cool, you will make more power versus a hot engine because again, as your engine temps climb, the calibration can pull a little bit of timing out. Plus you're gonna make more power with a cooler engine anyways. So that's the factory radiator. And if you look at like a 1314 GT500, which is 600 horse, let's say, ish, that has a radiator pretty close to the size of the AFCO from the factory, from Ford. So Ford knows when you're making that kind of power, you need cooling and they run a big radiator in it. So when we put a supercharger on a Coyote or a 3-valve Mustang, when you had 200 or 300 horsepower, we always want to address cooling, just like Ford does from the factory on the GT500, the newer GT500s. Because a cooler engine is going to be more efficient, it's going to be safer, it's going to make more power, and that's what we want. So that's why I always talk about cooling mods. I want to take just a second to show you some differences in sizes. I'll take one more look at the AFCO. So again, here's the factory width of a stock radiator, and right here we have the AFCO. So thanks for watching this. Please subscribe, leave a comment if you have questions on cooling mods or questions on if you should do them or not. I'm always a fan of doing them, but I'd be happy to answer. So thanks again. Have a great day.